find it fascinating. The Canadian geese, the guys that hang out by my office for the last month and a half, they're now almost all gone. And what makes them so amazing is by their very nature, they know what to do when it starts to get cold. They take off and they go south and they're gone. They're Canadian geese, but they've moved on south. And sometimes I've reflected on the ones that don't go, because there's still a few around, that what's going to happen is they get frozen. They get stuck here and they don't thrive very well through the winter. And it's a little bit like my life, and maybe like yours as well, where you know what you ought to do, you know what needs to happen so that you're not stuck, so that you move forward, and yet something in you causes you not to do it. It could be a little thing. Something so little as when I'm writing a note to somebody, I know that what I ought to do if I've looked up the address is write down the address, so the next time I might write a note, I've got it, or I've looked up the postal code, put it in the computer, so next time I have it. And yet sometimes I just think it's too much trouble. I'm not close to it. I'm just going to write it here, and I write it somewhere and I put it on the envelope, and yet it never gets moved forward to the computer. So the next time I need it, I don't have it. Or maybe something it's a little more complicated. Maybe it's something that pops into my mind that I just know I ought to do and I ought to do now. And I don't take action because even though by my nature I knew to do it, or by a thought that was downloaded I knew to do it, and yet I didn't. And then I find out later that I really ought to have picked up the phone at that very moment because somebody really needed an encouraging word or a prayer or something where I missed the boat. I missed the opportunity of impacting or blessing another person because I didn't know. I didn't do what I knew to do. So I'm thinking I should be more like the majority of the Canada geese that by their very nature know what to do, and they do it, and then they have a really great winter, and it's not cold like the one that you and I are going to have.